And we're live. This is
Oh, are we
Jim.
now?
Yeah, we are. I'm Jim Tudor. It's ZekeTalk of ZekeFilm.org, our film website where you can go and find out all kinds of things about movies. Particularly if you like reviews, we've got them at ZekeFilm.org. But this is Zeke Talk, and with me is Mike Anderson.
Yes, I am Michael Anderson, filmmaker and critic at large, here on the Zeke Talk podcast thing.
And we're here tonight after a few months of not having any Zeke talking going on. We're here with on the occasion of the new biggest movie ever.
Oh,
Yep,
that's right. It's so big, it's infinity
it's infinity big.
and beyond.
It's infinity big, and that is the Avengers: Infinity War.
I hear they've got every Marvel character, including Howard the Duck.
Yeah, I should say up front that the way this works tonight, I've seen the movie. I've in fact reviewed the movie. Two different versions of my same review are out there floating around on the web. Um, there's the beat the clock version is what I like to call it because that was for screenanarchy.com, where the whole thing is get this up as quick as possible, you know, and the quicker the better. So whoa, okay, I come out of the movie in a daze. Everybody came out of this movie in a daze. I'll just say that. And then I have to go write about it. So I concocted the most spoiler-free thing that I had ever maybe written, other than some Star Wars things. And yeah, put that on the Screen Anarchy, and then tweaked it the next morning, and that's what's on Zeke Film. So depending on for those curious about Infinity War review completists, there you go.
So this is basically movie good. It's something whatever you can grunt out in the few minutes after you saw the movie for the first time.
Yes, movie good. Um, I think I mentioned. I think I had to say almost every Marvel character is in it because there are two, maybe three, one of which you just mentioned, that doesn't turn up as far as I
Oh,
saw. Yeah, as far as I saw. I'm not, I'm pretty sharp-eyed, but I didn't notice any like out of focus background cameos or anything. That I'm talking about characters that would be the actors who play them would be listed in the credits.
yes.
So yeah, Howard the Duck. I always like to see Howard, but maybe next year's Avengers film will make room for him.
Maybe. I mean, they set him up in the Guardians of the Galaxy post-credit scene. It's like waiting for the other shoe to drop. Or
Well, he's in the other Guardians of the Galaxy movie too.
oh, that's true.
He's in both of them. So and then the Guardians of the Galaxy are in this Avengers movie.
Yes, but the question is David Hasselhoff also in this one?
You want me to answer that, or would that be a spoiler?
I think at this point, I spoiler away.
Oh, at this point, the movie. Okay, as we do record Zeke Talk right now, it is 9:34 p.m. Central Standard Time on Thursday night, April 26th, the night Avengers: Infinity War is opening. By my calculations, Mike, right now the movie's getting out, the first showing. So any second now, the internet is just gonna like get dangerous for people who don't want to know anything. And you say, oh, at this point, is the world really moving that quickly? Where
Well, I think if we give everyone a good lead time. It's like, turn it off now. Turn
Mm.
it off now. We're going
Mm.
to have spoilers.
Well, how about this? Don't turn it off yet. I'm not
Okay.
doing spoilers.
Oh,
I could do spoilers later, but right now it seems a little soon.
okay.
I mean, the people just got out of the movie.
I was going to say, well, it's just that we've got time to fill, and I'm not sure how much we can fill without a certain amount of spoilage.
Well, we could. I could fill this podcast up uh, just by naming the cast. That'd be 20 minutes.
Yes, that's the film critic filibuster.
Yeah. Oh my
I
God.
believe Roger Ebert coined that term back in 1987.
Oh, the film critic filibuster. Just
The film critic filibuster, yes, after Gene Siskel's review of Clue, the movie.
which was just a lot of names. This this has Michael McKean and Martin Mull and blah 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 and Tim Curry and on it and Madeline Kahn and it just goes on like that and then
That's right, yes.
Gene
Gene,
film
that's a
critic
film critic
filibuster.
filibuster, yes.
Yeah, well, I'll have you know, I was kind of proud. I feel kind of defiant that I did this, but in my review, um, I didn't bother. I was like, I seriously. I mean, we're talking upwards of 30 names, and these are prominent actors. You know, um, like so many of them are considered leading actors, and here they all are in this one big Infinity War together.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I can't even start to just name them all. So I named a few just in passing, like, oh, it's always nice to see Paul Bettany as the Vision or whatever. And then, of course, Josh Brolin. And are you a fan of Josh Brolin at all, Mike?
Oh yes, I am a fan of Josh Brolin from his work in mostly in the Coen Brothers movies.
Yeah.
No Country for Old Men and that other one.
Oh, Hail Caesar.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's great. He's great
Yes.
in those. Yeah, yeah. Um, he's Thanos,
Hmm.
and I've been a fan of Josh Brolin for a while. In fact, I'm a fan of the. I wish the guy would get a break. I'm not sure this is the break that Josh Brolin needs.
Yeah, he's not really recognizable as Thanos.
No, no. I think it's like a motion capture performance. He's like 12 feet tall and purple. And yeah, but through that, he does manage to, do the Andy Serkis thing and give this very surprisingly emotional performance as this villain, this mega villain that's been setting up this villain for 10 years. Yeah.
I just to let everyone know, I am like 3 or 4 Marvel movies behind.
Oh.
I haven't seen Thor Ragnarok yet. That's how far behind I am.
Well,
and so yes, even I have heard of Thanos. I've seen the setup for that. So
yeah, Thanos has turned up here and there over the years. The very end of the Avengers, during the credits, he showed up and surprised everybody in the theater watching it, and that's where you find out that Loki was sent by Thanos.
Yes,
and that finally pays off here. And then there's Thanos and the familial connections that come up in Guardians of the Galaxy with Gamora, his daughter, stepdaughter, I guess, adopted, and then Nebula, his biological daughter, and the drama there. And that pays off here as well.
Okay.
Gamora, surprisingly a lot of screen time for kind of this character that it seems like at times her own franchise didn't really know what to do with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question is, I of course have some questions, and
let's have
hopefully
them.
without spoiling it too much. First of all, just seeing the build up to all this and all the different characters, is this safe to say that this is the Marvel? It's a mad, 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 mad world.
Definitely, yeah, it's that, and I think that might be a better analogy than I thought of, because it's a mad, 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 mad world. It's this long-winded movie with everyone in the world in it running around after the treasure, and that's the plot.
Yeah.
The thing, I think, and this is to Marvel's credit, they've kept their movies simple. They've done this job of concocting this overarching story that any numbskull could kind of come in and out and follow.
Yeah.
But if fans are so inclined, they can obsess over it too. So you don't need to be the world's biggest geek to be able to figure out that there is this big purple alien guy called Thanos. He wants all these infinity gems. There's 6 of them, and he really, really wants them.
Of course,
and if he gets them, it'll be bad, and they have to stop him from getting them. And this has been alluded to and planted, and discussed slightly here and there over the years in other Marvel films, and then finally this is the payoff. And all of a sudden he starts getting infinity gems. He never got one infinity gem. And now all of a sudden he's gonna get a whole bunch of them in one movie.
Yeah.
So it's like boom, windfall. And that's the big problem in this for the characters in this film.
Yeah. That all of a sudden Thanos has all the infinity gems.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe that's a more serious answer to your question, but it's the mad, 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 mad world, and complete with probably more than one Jonathan Winters surrogate.
Yes. Well, the thing about it's a mad, 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 mad world was that, as a movie, it's kind of a wreck. It's overstuffed. It's a lot of it isn't entirely as funny as they intended it to be.
No.
But it is the place to see, a lot of all the big comics of that era. And it's just, it's like, oh, it's the guy driving the car. It's Jerry Lewis. Just that one little bit, it's Jerry Lewis on. But there's a fire, and they pan over to the firemen, and it's the Three Stooges. And
yeah, it's not quite like that. Everybody more or less has a better purpose in being there than, oh, hey, look, it's they couldn't, like I said, there's 2 heroes that I expected to see that I didn't see, and it's not a big deal. I guess it makes sense why they're not there. I'm kind of impressed at how much sense it makes of who's where. You have to see Thor Ragnarok, Mike.
Oh, I know.
That's essential.
Yes,
and it's essential to the Avengers Infinity War experience. As simple as Marvel has kept things for fans, this is the movie where you kind of really need to have seen some other movies in order to make sense of this, because otherwise this is just not going to make any sense.
Yeah.
I was able to take my dad to see the original Avengers movie a few years back, and I wouldn't dream of taking somebody who's just not been tracking all this and doesn't care at all into this.
No, I remember Apropos of nothing, I remember back in '89 seeing the Batman movie, Tim Burton's Batman movie, and behind me was a little old lady who had brought her grandson to see it. And every time Michael Keaton was on the screen, she'd lean over and whisper to the grandson, "That's Batman."
I remember I talked my parents into going to see that with me. I'd already seen it, and then we went to see it. I think it was still opening weekend, so
Yeah.
here I am again, and the movie's playing. It's the opening credits, and if you remember the opening credits of Tim Burton's Batman, it's this like cave of something like
Gloom.
yeah, it's this dark gray rock sculpture thing. The camera's panning through it and going all over, and clearly it's man-made.
Yes.
But what is it? And that's exactly what my mom. I remember she leaned over. She was a few seats down. And she goes, Jim, what? Oh, what is that? What is that? Like just wait, just wait.
Just wait,
and then of course the camera pulls back and it's the Batman logo.
Yeah.
We've been inside the Batman logo the whole time.
That's right. The calls were coming from the Batman logo all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyhow, don't bring a novice to this because you're just gonna have especially somebody who's be like, now who's that again? Why is that the guy? No, is that I'll just don't.
Okay.
Yeah, brush up and know your stuff. In my review, I wrote down what movies you need to see in order to make sense of this. You don't need to see all of them again, but you do have to see Thor Ragnarok. That kind of dumps right into this.
Okay.
Black Panther wouldn't hurt. What else? Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange has a big part.
I've seen Doctor Strange.
Yeah, he's got a lot to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. He winds up with Tony Stark, and so they don't get along.
Yeah. Which is surprising because they're pretty much the same character.
Exactly. That's why I thought it's amusing how I guess it's amusing and maybe not surprising that these two smart ass superhero guys who are so full of themselves in their own ways would not get along.
Yeah.
So I that's enjoyable. They're stuck together for a lot of the movie, and there's other people with them too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but oh gosh, yeah. That there's let's see, Thor Ragnarok. What else was I saying? I was listing Marvel movies. Spider-Man, Spider-Man: Homecoming. Did you watch that yet?
No.
Okay, well it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's good. They're on my to see list, but
yeah, that one is not essential to Avengers: Infinity War. By the way, you see Spider-Man, you pretty much know. Okay, there's Spider-Man, and just know that he has a mentor relationship with Tony Stark.
Tony Stark, yes.
So that's from that movie. Yeah. What else? I don't know. All those Avengers movies, all those Captain America movies. Got to see those.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah, got to see those.
I've seen all the Avengers movies up to this one, which is both of them.
How about all those Captain America movies? There's 3.
Yes.
Arguably the best sub-franchise under the Marvel Studios umbrella, I would say.
I would not argue with that.
Most consistent movies. They're all 3 very good.
Yeah.
And you can't really say that about any of the other ones. Either there aren't 3 yet, or there's a not so great one in there.
Yeah.
So, well, any other questions, Mike?
Does Rick Jones finally make an appearance?
Rick Jones of the Hulk
yes.
fame. No, but there is there's another prominent Incredible Hulk character who does make a brief appearance.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've seen him before.
All right.
So so there's that, and it's not a big deal. Don't get excited, anybody. They don't bring back Abomination or anything.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. No Rick Jones.
No.
I know.
And I assume still no Natalie Portman return, but
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
no.
No.
That's
I,
out of it.
the guy who plays Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
What's that guy's name? He's a crusty, wacky actor. He was listed on IMDb for a while as being in this Avengers Infinity War.
And Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was listed as being in this. I don't know if he still is listed as being in this movie, but
Didn't he die at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
while I was talking about this, it occurred to me that maybe you haven't seen Guardians 2, but yes, that's what I'm getting at. He dies at the end of Guardians 2. So what you don't worry, I didn't see him, like I said, it's like, oh, he's after, this 15 minutes of mourning the guy at the end of Guardians 2, all of a sudden he walks back in, doesn't happen.
Oh, okay. No, that that reminds me that Marvel, of course, is very famous, especially in the 80s and 90s, for killing off its main characters and then bringing them back. Especially there was the X-Men. It's always darkest before the dawn, where all the X-Men die.
Sure. Yeah.
And then they come back, and the big gag at the time was that we imagined when Wolverine finally dies and he gets up to heaven and he's like, okay, so I died, so when am I going back? And all the angels are like, no, you're dead. And it's like, yeah, sure, so when do I go back?
We got books
no,
to sell.
you are dead.
I'm a very, very valuable intellectual property. You don't understand. I can't stay here.
Nope, you're dead.
Sorry.
Yeah,
that's the thing about this. As harrowing as some of the deaths that may or may not happen in Infinity War are, we are dealing with the infinity. It's the all-powerful. Anybody who has it can do anything.
yeah.
You control time, reality, space. What are the 6 gems? There's time. There's reality. What else? The soul. There's the soul gem.
Mm-hmm.
That one goes right here, or maybe right here. And then there's the gem of arithmetic,
Mm-hmm.
and the gem of proper grammar.
Yes.
And the gem of good breath.
Okay.
Fresh breath. Yeah. And Thanos, he wants all those gems.
Of course.
So when all this stuff is in play, you got to figure that the next Avenger movie that'll be a year from now,
yeah,
is going to have to sort some things out.
Well, I'd imagine the in-between movies would have to sort some things out too, but
apparently not. The Ant-Man and Wasp is coming out in a few months. They just said, "Oh, yeah, that takes place before." Yeah. So don't worry. It doesn't fit in. It's all before Infinity War.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. In fact, it might even be before Captain America: Civil War. Because in that movie, if you remember, Ant-Man ends up incarcerated.
Mm-hmm. I think Kevin Feige got his release schedule mixed up.
Maybe. Yeah. See, I'm thinking, well, is it, what's going to happen here? I don't know. Well, they had to have this movie out at Memorial Day, basically, except we're way before that now. So, remember when Memorial Day was the big start of all this movies?
I remember, yes.
Yeah, boy. It's like we're like a week left of April here. And we're doing the biggest movie of the summer, and it's like barely spring.
I know. I had to get it up before May Day for the big May Day crowd.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll hit that stride of summer movies where it's one big giant movie every week.
Oh, yes.
But I don't know that we're quite going to be doing that for a few weeks. The next big one might be Han Solo, and that's another Disney property. So,
Oh, yes.
they need to have this one kind of cleared out by then, don't they?
I'd imagine they would, yes.
Which, by the way, off topic, I saw another trailer for Han Solo, a Star Wars movie, before Infinity War.
Ah.
And did you see the latest Han Solo trailer, Mike?
I have not seen the latest. I saw the first one and the second one.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this one. I saw that it was out, and I was like, I don't want to see more. I think I've got this movie figured out already, and I'm not sure I want to. So, at the very end of this trailer, it's a good trailer. Han Solo and Chewbacca are on a spaceship, and it's flying really fast through canyons.
Yeah,
and something happens.
That's their shtick.
Yeah, Chewbacca falls, and Han Solo grabs him, and it's like, I've got you. And Chewbacca's head goes out of the spaceship, and then you see he looks, and his head's sticking out, and they're flying right up close to this canyon wall, and this big like formation is sticking out, and the camera's, Chewbacca's point of view, it's like right at the right up to it, and then Solo, a Star Wars story. And I was like, so that's the big So the question is, does Chewbacca get his head lopped off in this prequel to every other Star Wars thing with Han Solo? And, yeah.
They pull a fast one, and it's like, that was Chewbacca number one. At the end of the movie, they get a new Chewbacca.
A new Chewbacca. Someone goes to the pet store and they like get a new one. It looks just like him.
Yeah.
Well, if you look closely, you might be right, because this Chewbacca number one is wearing a bandolier that is different. And the Millennium Falcon they're flying is a little different too.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, we'll talk about all this when we do the Han Solo Star Wars. Yeah.
But I like that just the one mention, and already it's canon that this is Chewbacca number one.
Yeah, that's somewhere on the Star Wars wiki page. Their fans are quickly typing, updating. This changes everything. Thank you very much. So, yeah, Infinity War.
First, folks.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. You might be surprised, Mike, to hear that not every superhero in Infinity War has a lot to do.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all. It's when you have a 20-minute cast list, someone has to be the Jerry Lewis who just swerves his car and runs over a hat.
Yeah, it's like they're making this movie. It's like, okay, let's make one of Thanos's hench thugs a deadly woman.
Uh-huh.
So then it'll be cool when Black Widow and the bald military character from Black Panther team up to fight that woman for a minute and a half.
Yeah, in
a ditch. And so that happens, and that's pretty much all Black Widow and the other girl have to do with at all in this movie. So there, and Black Widow, for whatever reason, has blonde hair this time,
Oh.
which has been a constant point of questioning for me since I saw this film here at my house. The kids all want to know, well, why? But why does Black Widow have blonde hair this time? What is the purpose? What is the reason? Tell us. And I'm like, I don't know. Well, this is a very big film.
Well, now that you've seen the movie, and I'm sure the secret is wearing heavily on you.
Oh, on me?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that this is what they need to establish right away in Avengers 4, or else I'm going to lose my mind. No, it's Black Widow has blonde hair. And I was like, never mind the blonde hair. I'm still waiting for her to get her wrist zappers that she has in the comics.
Oh, yeah.
It shoots electricity, the Widow's sting. Come on.
I guess they're saving it for the Black Widow solo movie.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like, what's a gal got to do to get some electricity bracelets around here?
Which will take place after the first Avengers movie, but before the second one.
Ooh. Yeah. So somewhere in the time of, was that Marvel Cinematic World Phase 1 or 2? I can't keep all of it straight anymore. Remember when these phases of Marvel Cinematic Universe used to be kind of like exciting and trackable?
Yes. Now it's just confusing.
Yeah, it is confusing. I think there's like 16 movies in Phase 3 here. We might be in Phase 4. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And where do all these TV shows fit in?
I think they've given up trying to make the TV shows fit in.
They don't fit in. They cannot fit in.
No.
And I don't know. When one of these movies finally flops, they'll look up and realize, there's more people watching Luke Cage on Netflix than saw that flopping movie. So maybe we should include him, maybe, in the Avengers. Just a thought.
Maybe.
Particularly because the character is an Avenger.
Yeah.
Anyhow. Yeah, Infinity War. I did like it, by the way.
That's good to know.
But I think, and I'll get a little bit into spoiler territory here, but not really. Vague.
Is James Cameron right, and we're all going to get Avengers fatigue?
Well, if you don't have Avengers fatigue already, you're not getting it from this. I mean, I was on record as saying to a group of friends at a family, it might have been a family gathering. I was like, I don't know, the Star Wars fan in me, that's my one geek thing anymore. Star Wars and then this stuff. The Star Wars geek in me feels a little guilty for anticipating Infinity War more than the Han Solo, the Solo movie.
Yeah.
But it's Infinity War, man.
I know.
So yeah, I did like it, but probably because it's a part 1 of 2 movies, actually. I mean, it has to be. I don't know if that's truly the case, but it has to be. Mm-hmm. A few years ago, they put out this thing that said the name of all the Marvel movies they're going to make up through the year 2019 or something.
Yeah.
And it ended with Avengers Infinity War Part 2. And then these Russo brothers who are making these films, they did an interview a while ago and said, yes, scratch that. We're not having Avengers Infinity War Part 2. We are making Avengers 4, and we're going to make it back to back with Avengers 3 since everybody's there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just very convenient to do it. But we're not, it's not Avengers Infinity War Part 2 anymore. Okay. So what is it?
It's Avengers Infinity War Part 3.
Yeah. Part 2 is like dedicated to Roy Orbison. that
Yes.
what's happened there? The Traveling Wilburys
Yes.
albums. Yeah.
No, part 2 comes out in like 2022.
You'll have to go back and make that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll be a prequel to the 3rd installment.
Maybe Joss Whedon could make that movie.
Maybe.
I saw some red carpet pictures from the premiere the other night. Joss Whedon was there.
No.
Yeah.
Not surprised. But
bad blood. I thought he was unhappy with the whole shebang.
I think he was too. But I mean, when you get an invite for the big premiere, that's another thing, as opposed to, come back and do another big Avengers movie where, yeah, we know we drove you crazy with Avengers 2 with all the different elements you had to include, but we have this new Avengers movie and it's going to be great. And don't look at the script notes we have.
Yeah. This is the fruits of your insanity from Avengers 2 right here. And thought you might like to see it. And I guess, Joss Whedon, he's probably, if he's holding a grudge for, getting kicked around during Avengers 2, he's probably, he's mad at a few people.
Yeah.
But then he's probably still friends with a lot of other people that are maybe in this movie. So I guess it makes sense that he would come see him.
Yeah.
It's the nice guy thing to do,
I suppose.
But yeah, the movie.
He wasn't there just to show off, show off his Justice League creds.
Oh my gosh!
Wasn't wearing his DC buttons.
Apparently, I saw a thing today. I think it's a website. Is it Comic Book Resources? One of these big comic websites is like, here we are on Infinity War Day, and they're posting a thing about how fans of the DC cinematic universe are like, in Josh Snyder's corner. Or what's that guy? Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder. They're in his corner. It's like the Whedon cut versus the Snyder cut. And they hate the Whedon cut because he made it like jokey and short.
Don't you know DC movies are long and ponderous?
Yes. Oh man. Yeah, he reshot everything. He added his dad jokes, is what it said. That's someone was not happy.
Yep.
So yeah. But yeah, the comedy in Infinity War is pretty good. I'll segue back to that. A fellow St. Louis film critic, Andrew Wyatt, who writes for The Lens, which is the Cinema St. Louis publication about movies. Andrew is, well, he's probably the best writer about movies in town. We're all in this guy's shadow. He wrote a very long piece on Avengers: Infinity War, and in his piece, he does say this is the last Jedi of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I have to say is a line I also thought of. Mm-hmm. This may spark some stuff. I think everybody's expecting, they're going to clean house, whatever. But this is more than just, contract expiration, the movie, if you know what I mean.
This isn't Transformers the movie where, everyone dies and
Generation 1, out you go. It's not quite that. Like Captain America. What's the Marvel, when you think about future Marvel work, like let's say hypothetically they get rid of Captain America. Mm-hmm. Doesn't the Marvel universe kind of need a character like that?
Yeah, but it has been established that there can be multiple Captain Americas. That Captain America is a title that So
What
another person could take on the mantle.
could take on the mantle?
Yeah.
Inspired by the first guy, Steve
Yes.
Rogers. Yeah.
And Iron Man, that's just a suit. You get the new guy in the suit.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think
Gwyneth Paltrow out.
honestly, Mike, I think Iron Man's kind of played out. I mean, we'll all miss it when Robert Downey Jr. inevitably leaves, but um, yeah, I don't. I think like the Captain America is that moral compass that that type of, he's like the Superman or whatever.
Mhm.
How do you not have him? So the question will be, when and if the time comes, do they recast these guys? Are we going to get a younger Thor? Like, does Thanos in the next Avenger movie or in this one snap his fingers and all of a sudden we've got 20-something Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man?
Well, that's the eternal conundrum. Do you go the James Bond recasting route, or do you give everyone a send off and you bring on Rodimus Prime to
Yeah.
replace Optimus?
Well, they did recast War Machine
Mm-hmm.
from the first Iron Man
And
movie.
of course, they've recast the Incredible Hulk a couple times, but
True. That's an even bigger example.
yeah.
Yeah. So they of course absolutely could recast. I don't think that would be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. I mean, it's probably up to the actors. Like, it's not like Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth are, getting old and turning gray here.
That's true.
These guys have a lot of good years ahead of them. It's just, do you still want to be doing one of these movies every 16 months?
Yeah, that's the thing is, they want to, diversify a little bit,
Yeah.
do other movies, not just Marvel movies. And, it's the same thing with TV shows. After a while, the automatic salary increases. It's why most TV shows end after 7 years, because the salary increases that everyone gets at the end of every year that their agents contracted for. It just gets to be too expensive by the end of the 7th year. So
Yeah. It's maxed out.
yep.
So, yeah. I don't know. These guys have been doing this for 7 years or more.
Yeah.
In the case of Robert Downey Jr. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's it's you have to see the movie. You do see all those other movies that I mentioned beforehand.
Of course, yes.
I Yeah, if you're sensitive to spoilers, avoid. You probably would have tuned this off by now, so never mind.
Which is a shame, because we've kept it relatively spoiler-free.
Yeah, we have. But yeah, no, it's Josh Brolin, good villain. He's, aside from Loki, probably the best villain I can think of off the top of my head in any Marvel film.
He doesn't have much competition there. So
You're right, yeah. But I haven't put a lot of thought into that question. But I shouldn't need to. It should spring to mind.
yes.
And honestly, Thanos, with all this buildup, he darn well better be compelling. And
Yeah.
thankfully he is. The makers of this movie know well enough that the things that they need to do.
Mhm.
And I think they probably even have a sense of the expectations. Like when Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, the word was out that Leonard Nimoy wanted out and Spock might die. So what do they do in the very first scene? They blow up Spock.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, "Oh no, he's dead already." And then it turns out it was all simulation, and Spock's not really dead. And then you get lulled into this false sense of security, and then he dies later.
Yeah.
So, is this one of those situations? It could be, but it is. If so, it's on that level.
Okay.
Possibly. We don't know. I mean, it's like a big corker, man.
Yeah.
So it's hard to talk about it and not talk about it this way. But I hope it's interesting,
Yes.
not
Those of
frustrating.
you who've seen it, wink, wink. You
Yeah,
know what we're talking about.
yeah. Those of you
Wink.
listening to this, I'm sorry. Uh, so yeah, I don't know.
Wink.
We're gonna do more Zeke talk episodes, I guess. But
Yes.
do you have any other questions, Mike? Because I'm ready to not be doing this anymore.
I think my curiosity has been slated for the moment.
Yeah. Enough of the funny book talk. Yeah. I read Infinity Gauntlet, by the way, back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Starlin's Marvel miniseries. It was a what they call a event, a
Oh
Marvel
yeah.
event, the standalone miniseries where all the characters have to come together and fight this one big problem, and that is the Thanos problem. And he gets his Infinity Gauntlet, and you know what he was doing in that? Thanos was trying to impress a girl that is Death.
Ah.
Yeah, Death, the Grim Reaper, female
Oh,
in
yeah.
Marvel. So Thanos has this this unrequited crush on Death. And in Infinity War, we find out why Thanos is trying to do what he's doing, and it's not at all for that reason.
No.
There's no girl Death that he's trying to woo.
Jim Starlin is rolling over in his grave.
Is he dead?
No, he's not.
Okay. Jim Starlin ought to be pretty happy. He gets a prominent acknowledgement in the scrolling credits that everybody has to sit through because this is a Marvel movie. He gets a prominent acknowledgement of the contributions of Jim Starlin. And then if you're a keen credit watcher on Marvel movies, you'll know that they always acknowledge and thank the creators and writers of whatever storylines they're kind of cherry picking from.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see these writers and artists names go by kind of in the lower, the end 2/3 of any credit scroll. The Starlin credit is earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get the credits of all the comic book creators that had something to do with any of these characters, and it's a paragraph. I mean, it's this
Yeah.
big block of names that time that goes by.
Okay.
So all your favorite comic creators.
So yeah, so I just looked it up. Jim Starlin is alive. He's seen the movie, he liked it, and thinks Josh Brolin did a really good job.
He's. I agree with Jim Starlin. What can I say? Great artist, by the way. I
Yeah.
really like his stuff. Marvel back then, Infinity Gauntlet did really well, and then I think they brought Jim Starlin back to write another. There's a guy who's known for his cosmic, comic books,
Yes.
and really did a great job with Silver Surfer and some other things over the years. So they brought him back. He did another Infinity. I think what was that called? The Infinity War, I think was the name
Yeah.
of the follow-up miniseries. But then he wasn't drawing it, and they got another artist that I won't name, but it looked rushed. It wasn't very good. And
Yeah.
then they did a third Infinity, and I don't even know if Starlin had anything to do with that. It was Infinity Crusade, and it was just like, what is even happening? What is even? I don't even. It's how many times can we tear reality in half?
That's going to be us on ZekeTalk in 7 years.
Yeah, right.
Marvel's new
Recast.
movie, Infinity Crusade. Oh, what are they doing?
If they want to recast me on Zeke Talk, I'm game. I mean, it's late and I'm tired.
Okay.
So, no offense, Mike, but I'm just saying.
No, I quite agree.
You can carry on with anyone who's seen all the movies you haven't.
Which is a lot of people, apparently.
I guess. I mean, the number's getting bigger tonight.
Yep.
Infinity War. So maybe that'll be Infinity Crusade next summer.
We'll have to see.
Yep.
See, we told you it wasn't Infinity War Part 2. It's Infinity Crusade.
Or they could just call it the Infinity Gauntlet. I don't know. Marvel needs to keep things simple. You know, there's probably enough people out there be like, Gauntlet, what's a gauntlet? You know, so they can't call it that.
No.
The Infinity Oven Mitt. Yeah.
Yep.
Did you ever you're familiar with the old Wizard publication, Wizard comic book magazine?
Of course,
They did the Toy Fair, the Twisted Toy Fair Theater.
Yes.
Yeah, and there was an episode of Twisted Toy Fair Theater where they took these action figures and did comedy comics in every issue, and it was a superhero garage sale, and Aunt May was shopping in this garage sale and found the Infinity Gauntlet in a box of junk, and was buying it, and it just as Thanos pulled up and was like just minutes late. Like, no. Like, oh, what a fine glove this is. Yeah. So, well, on that note, thank you everybody for listening in to ZekeTalk with us. I'm Jim Tudor, and Mike Anderson's down in the corner, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, and yeah, we'll be back.
We'll be back soon.
Yes, we will return.
Numbers.
Avengers will return. And thanks for tuning in. And you can like our YouTube channel.
Give us one of these. Give us one of these.
Oh, sure. Give us that. If you enjoyed the show, give us a review. If you didn't like the show, let's just forget about it.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. All right. Thanks. We'll tune out here.
Happy trails.